With Medicare Part D, is there a cap on prescription coverage for the year? Do plans vary with that?
Well, most people who are familiar with this have gone in. There's lots of different parts, but they're all structured in different ways. The moving parts normally are your deductible. The most important that most people overlook, though, is the formulary, and that is the list of drugs that will be covered and how they'll be considered, Tier 1, Tier 2, at what cost they'll be covered. A lot of people overlook that, and they'll just buy the cheapest or one that has a company's name that they've heard, or they'll buy, oh, well, Ethel down the road bought this, and she says it's good, so I'll buy it. But one size truly doesn't fit all in Medicare Part D. You really have to be careful and look at your very specific situation, the meds you take, and the risk and the meds you might take later before you move forward. So there's moving parts. So you're going to have deductibles, you're going to have different copay amounts, different formulary tiers, and the tier amounts. So a Tier 1 will cost this, Tier 2. They'll all move around. But we all know about the infamous thing called the donut hole, which for some newcomers, that's a period of coverage. Once you've reached a certain out-of-pocket limit where there's just no coverage whatsoever until you spend more money. Some companies now have coverage inside of the donut hole, and this was you got to understand, this was all legislated. So the framework, the geniuses in Washington who did all this, and their insurance company lobbyists all got together and they created this thing that would maximize profits for the insurance companies at the cost of seniors, while still giving them some benefit that they didn't have, so we won't scream bloody murder too much. But they do these donut holes, they do all this stuff, and then people can move around the parts and they can make them look different and all of this. What we tell people to look is you put in on Medicare.gov, and there's great how-to videos and real straightforward advice like I'm giving you now at Medigap360.com/Part D. That's Medigap360.com/Part D. Done a lot of real straight-to-the-point information to help you weed through it. But it's you put in your medications, your specific situation, where you live and all that, and the tools are pretty robust. They'll come out and say, this is how much you'll end up spending at the end of the year. If you go to this pharmacy 2 miles from your house, you'll spend this much, and you go to this one 5 miles from your house, you'll spend this much. So they've really aggregated the information and have some out-of-pocket cost calculators in there. And you really have, that's the best step you can go on. The trick gets to where, well, I know what meds I'm taking now, and so I can pick the plan that's best for me now, but what about if something else happens to me? And that's where, luckily, the gods that be said once a year you can reshop and change your plan from one to the other. So just hope if you get new meds, it's going to be in December, starting for your new plan in January, not January 4th after you're already locked into this new plan for the year. Again, Medicare Part D, you do the best you can and be thankful that you have something. That's the best advice I can give people. And just expect there to not be perfect.